Yeah, I think, amazed. And really, really chuffed that people trusted me to help them with the houses. Because it's a massive thing, your house.
Yeah.
You know, and I always smile about when people come and view a house and they're in and out in 10 minutes, half an hour. And I think, oh my goodness, she's spending 100 grand here or however much money. You know, I spend much longer looking for a pair of shoes or a t-shirt or something.
Right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chatzzz. And we have a very, very special guest who's taken probably about a year to get on.
Yeah.
Hayley, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me into your lovely home and your office area.
Hut. The hut.
Office
That's
hut.
what it's called.
Yeah.
Hayley's happy hut.
Yeah. We probably met about a year ago when I was trying to buy my first home. Yeah. Hopefully you can help me out with my next one as well.
I'd love to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, did I message last week about coming on?
Yeah, I think
so, yeah. You don't normally check Instagram, do you? So
well, I don't get notifications as much on there, so it's more difficult.
Yeah. And then we managed to get a time and a date and here we are. So yeah, to be fair, I didn't prep you for this bit, but if you're introducing yourself to somebody who hasn't met you for the first time, if you're like in a taxi or something, how would you introduce yourself?
I would say my name's Hayley Gardiner. I am a mum of 3 amazing children. That is my biggest achievement. And I work as an estate agent. I've got my own business.
Very cool. What's it like being a mum?
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love being a mum. I've always loved being a mum. Yeah, I thought I would be quite like stressed and everything, but actually my friends used to say, you're quite laid back. So my eldest 2 are 18 months apart. Okay. And I would have had them closer if I could have. Yeah. I love it. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I'd imagine is it a difficult job but rewarding at the same time?
It's difficult in different stages, I think, because when they were little, you think it's so hard and you're not getting any sleep. And obviously the 18 months apart ones were, challenging together because they're competitive. And then I've got a gap 10 year between the eldest and the youngest. So he's a doddle because he's by himself. So, but then as they grow, obviously the problems change and the challenges change.
I can imagine, yeah. I could just think back like when I was growing up and stuff, the amount of probably problems I gave my mum and dad has been crazy.
Well, I'm only learning that now at my age that I've done that to my mum and dad for all of the way through. And I think now, my son said to me the other week, I've just realised like you're a person. And I thought, my mum and dad are. They're not just there to be my mum and dad.
Yeah, and as well, like you're doing it, I'm doing it. Our parents, the kids are all doing it for the first time as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
And especially when I was younger, I'd think like my mum and dad, they've got it all figured out. They know exactly what they're doing. They know life to a T, but then, they're just figuring out as they go along. It's crazy.
But we're all different as well. So you parent one child, but then the next child's different to that one and the next one's different to that one. So it's working your personalities as well with it.
Some like tough love, some like sensitive and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's quite strict, I think. But they'll both say that with Ollie, that I'm really laid back and he gets away with murder.
Is that the youngest one?
Yeah.
Because you're probably like, I've done 2 now. So I prepped you for the 3 facts, didn't I? So what would you say the 3 facts? And I've got your notes as well.
Yeah, well, I have got my notes, but that was my first one, was that I love being a mum. That they're my biggest achievement. So I've got 3 children as well as 3 stepchildren. Honestly, I love them all. They're all brilliant kids. I'm not just saying it, they are. They'll have the challenges and stuff, but they are brilliant kids.
Yeah. Hopefully, not the near future, but in a few years, I'd love to have kids. I think a boy and a girl would be ideal, but obviously you can't pick, can you?
I didn't start until I was 30. I had Tom at 30, Grace at 31, and then I had Ollie when I was literally a month off 40.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So
that's cool, though.
I would say live your life, do your stuff.
That's what I want to do, yeah. I'm 28 at the moment, so if I give myself, a few years.
A lot of people say, but if you have them young, then you can do it all after. But for me, now in my 50s, I don't want to do what I did in my 20s. Nah. So I preferred for me to do it the way I did it.
Yeah. My mum and dad had me and my brother when they were like mid to late 30s, I think, as well. Because like you say, when you're 20s and 30s, you want to do different things than you want to do in your 50s.
You haven't got the energy in your 50s to be doing that sort of stuff. But I think then at least you've done those things as well, haven't you? And, and I would like to say we're wiser, but it's the first time thing, having a kid whatever age. Honestly, I admire anybody having children young. I really do, because I just think it's such a massive thing.
Yeah, massive. One of my friends, his girlfriend is a bit younger and she's got a kid, and she maybe had when she was like 18. So he's like obviously helping stepdad-ish role. I think it's like crazy to think that had it at that age, you know what I mean?
I just think they're amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do, to have a child young, because it is a massive responsibility. I have to pinch myself sometimes thinking, am I old enough for this?
I'm responsible.
Giving them all this advice and thinking,
because I just find you just get one and it's like, oh yeah, you know what you're doing, you can just figure it out. But
but like I said, they all bring different challenges.
Yeah.
But very rewarding.
Yeah.
Very costly as well.
Yeah, I dread to think.
I wouldn't want to add that up. I can remember emptying toy boxes out with like all the little toys from Mackie D's and stuff. And then thinking, that can go in the bin. But the amount you must spend, or giving toys away to other children after they've outgrown them, and thinking, imagine how much all that costs.
You don't add that up there at all.
No.
What was the second one?
So my other ones, I had 4 infant schools, 1 junior school and 2 secondary schools.
Yeah, so what's that? That's 7 total?
A lot of schools.
Yeah.
And it was basically down to my dad's job.
Okay.
As we had to move. And actually nowadays, it was only quite local, so they probably wouldn't have moved me. But back in the day, especially with secondary schools now, everybody gets on buses everywhere. But back in the day, I literally moved from Nelson Tom to Trinity, which wouldn't happen nowadays.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But we moved from Wigton to Carlisle. So, but I think it's made me the person I am, because I was that child that would walk into school and be, nobody would talk to you, and I had to go out and make friends. Especially at the secondary school, they moved me at the Easter time in the second year, so year 8.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody already had their friends and everything, and So
did you find that difficult, or?
Yeah, I think if I look back now, I think I was probably quite anxious child without realising it. And I am quite quiet inside, but I suppose I've just had to do it and had to go out and make friends. So it probably was quite challenging.
Yeah. So it's putting yourself in, well, you don't think it at the time, do you? But if you get put in those situations, you probably do like grow as a person, develop. Whereas, I say 7 and 8, you've got your own little friends, your own little groups, or to try and fit into different environments and that kind of thing.
I'm that person, if like I'm doing a class in the gym, if I see somebody looking like coming in, and I'm that person that'll go and say, hi, it's your first time. I can't help it. And I just think it's because I know how I felt in those situations. So.
That's nice. It's obviously rubbed off on you in later life as well, isn't it? Because there's nothing worse than, it's quite intimidating even going to a gym for the first time, like you say, or a class or something, you're just trying to figure it out, make some friends. But just that friendly face that says hi, that definitely helps.
You just need one person to do that, don't you? So that was my other one. And my final one was that I used to do athletics. I'm very sporty, very competitive. Yeah. And I used to do high jump and sprints when I was at school, which my eldest 2 they've done athletics as well. So, and I love the gym. I'm totally into all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So in high jump, how did you get into the high jump? Was it just literally school?
School.
Yeah.
I think. And I used to run with Border Harriers. I used to sprint. Oh my goodness, I couldn't do it now. But
how fast have you got a time?
Do you know what? I can't remember. It's that long ago.
It's just 100 metres as well?
I did 100 metres. I didn't like distance, honestly. No. We used to do cross country at school, and absolutely, not for me.
Because I was never fast enough to do 100 metres, but I was okay at 200 metres.
Oh, that's good,
Yeah. But now, I hated distance as well until last year I started running long distances, and now I love it. Just like good focus. I've done half marathons. I'm doing my first marathon in Ibiza in April.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
I'm looking forward to
Got to be warm though.
Yeah. It'll be, they do it in the afternoon, evening as well. So it's like a bit cooler. But it's just, I find it good for like mental clarity and focus to just have that separation where I can just think about stuff.
I must admit, I used to do a bit of running, did consider doing a half marathon. But I've got too many injuries now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Probably from Max. I used to do I used to teach and stuff, and BPT and do that sort of side of things. So I think it's just all the impact.
Yeah, high impact, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find the gym therapeutic then when you go?
Yeah, I absolutely love the gym. I love weight training, and I do the odd class, but I do love weight training. And I'm quite strong. But
That's
yeah,
good.
it depends which gym I go to, because the gym I go to, I end up chatting to a lot of.
Which gym is it?
There's a surprise. Valentine's.
Oh, yeah.
But I recently went to Strength Shack with a friend of mine. I got a voucher off my stepson. Oh my goodness, what equipment is in there? Have you been in?
I did a guest pass the other day and it's so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think we're going to join because I actually do have a membership Valentine's. I don't really go that much. I go Body Tech as well.
Yeah.
So Valentine's, they tie you in for God knows how many months.
I used to work there, you see, so I'm okay with that. And I know a lot of people, so I suppose it's my comfort zone. But I did consider when I'm doing more weight training to do Strength Shack.
Yeah, some of the machines in there are so good, aren't they? And that's proper gym environment. And you see the people with the headphones on, like, yeah.
And Body Tech's like that. So I used to do classes, to do Mike's classes back in the day.
Oh, did you?
When I was young. Yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So then let's go back to a little Hayley then. What you were like first memories growing up. What were your hobbies? What were your interests? What did you enjoy doing?
So I lived in Kendal. I was born in Kendal. And one of my earliest memories, and my dad will love this, but my dad used to take me, I'm sure my mum did as well, but I remember it was called the Hill when we used to go walking up this like hill. And there's a picture of me as a little girl, it'll be on my Facebook somewhere, with a horse. And I just remember like those nice times and doing that and having walks. And
that's cool.
Yeah. I think as a child, I was quite quiet. I always, well, my mum and dad won't agree, but I think I liked to do as was told. I didn't like getting into trouble at all. My dad was a policeman.
Okay.
And I keep thinking they must have been strict, but I actually don't think they were. I've learned an awful lot from them and obviously their parenting. But yeah, I was just probably quite quiet, I think. And as I grew school-wise, I was probably quite swotty.
Okay,
and wanted to do well. Had to work really hard at school because my brother's quite naturally bright, where I would say I probably worked harder to get my GCSEs and stuff like that.
Because they matter so much in life, don't they?
Well, it's just stepping stones. I say to my children all the time, they're just stepping stones. If you can do as best as you can. But I think I just wanted to make them proud and wanted to do well. So I did, and I got 9.
Oh, no, that's good, I think I got 9 as well, actually. Yeah. Because did you find you were quiet because you kept on moving schools? Did you say you went to 4 primary schools? Yeah, that's crazy. I went to 2. I went to Warwick Bridge and Hayton in maybe like year 2 or 3 maybe. But I found it personally easy because I played football with the people anyway. So before it'd be crazy.
I remember Kendal, and I remember them saying, I was only there for a little while, and then we moved and we went and we lived at a place called Metal Bridge. I don't know if you know Metal Bridge. It's just on the outskirts of Carlisle going north. And I went to Rockcliffe School. But it was the old school, so I met all the friends and we got in this old school, loved it. And then it would be the same friends I moved with, but they then built a new school. So it was another environment to move to, just in the village. And then we moved to Wigton at the last year of infant school. But luckily then I stayed at Wigton until the secondary school moved. So I had all that junior school, made some really lovely friends in Wigton, and I loved it. But then we had to move.
Moving non-stop.
Yeah.
What did you want to like be, or what did you want to do when you were like growing up at that age?
Do you know, this is something interesting. I actually wrote this on my notes because I would say that I wasn't particularly good at one thing, and I didn't really think about what I wanted to do. But I remember saying to my dad, I'm just not good at anything. And my dad said to me, your personality, that's what's going to be good for you. And I remember 7 or whatever thinking, well, what do you mean? Like personality? I don't want a personality. I want to be good at maths or jogging or running or whatever. Yeah. And he was right.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, really interesting, because without my personality, I probably wouldn't get half of my business.
Yeah. If I say it's 7, you'd be like,
just want to be able to go draw or something.
But yeah, in later life, like it all makes sense. Yeah. That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah. So I didn't really have, and I wasn't one of those little kids that said, I'm going to be a nurse or I'm going to be, I don't think I really did. Not that I remember anyway.
Yeah. Just got your head down and cracked on with your work and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when you were like leaving school then, what was the plan?
See, when I left school, my form tutor, who I loved to bits, Mr. Weir, he was appalled that I was leaving at 16 because he wanted me to do my A-levels because I'd worked hard. He was like, you're so capable of doing that. But the reason I left was I went on work experience, as you do in, I think it was my 5th year. And I went to NatWest Bank and I loved it. Got stuck in and they offered me a job. So at that point, I was only 15 because my birthday was February. And they said, if you get the GCSEs, which is probably why I worked, you can have a job. So I was like, and back in the day, it was very much like you did do that. You went to school, you got a career, you then bought a house, got married. That's very much how I was brought up back then. So yeah, so that's what I did. I left school and worked at NatWest for nearly 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time, isn't it?
Again, that's something else you did.
Yeah.
Stuck in your job.
I feel like these days, everyone changes their career every 2 years or something, don't
But
they?
it's good because then once I'd left NatWest, that was it. You were like, you'd done it then, so you might as well move. And I did then move different jobs.
Yeah. What was it like going in then at 16 to NatWest?
Well, there was 9 or 10 of us started that year. All of us started in that year. Yeah, could you believe it? Well, we just absolutely loved it. We were all very similar age. I've still got really good friends from NatWest.
Oh, that's cool.
Really, similar age, but one of our bosses, I mean, we were always wrong with they were called REMs, the checks that you sorted. We could never balance them on a night and stuff. Because I think we used to just chat.
Yeah,
it was such a good, honestly, we had some great parties. Had some brilliant times. But I think now when I look back, half of the parties and that now wouldn't happen. It's just a different era.
Yeah, definitely, I can imagine,
Yeah.
Even a few years ago, you look back, it's just, things change so fast these days, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I really feel sorry for the bosses, actually, because imagine now if I think about taking 9 16-year-olds on, and they go, oh my word.
Yeah.
Imagine how hard that were.
But at 16, I would have thought like, oh yeah, I've got it all figured out. Right. I know. And you look back and think 16, you don't have a clue.
You don't know anything. You don't. And that's, yeah.
So what was it like then with 10 years? Because obviously, like say people, well, I know my dad personally, he stayed in the same career his whole life. So what made you want to leave it after 10 years in NatWest?
I've got to be honest, because it became sales. Okay. And it was like, I don't mind sales at all. Obviously, I do selling in my job, but I don't mind sales through service. But when it was literally, you've got to get this many people, ask this person about a mortgage, and they only came in for a balance. And I used to sit in the meetings thinking, rolling my eyes, thinking, I'm not going to be here. Plus, I'd also started doing my fitness exams because, I was into the gym back then. And I thought, I'm not quite fancy doing this. So I started doing my fitness exams, and I served somebody on the counter one day who was opening a gym locally. And so he said, would you come and work for me? And just got chatting about fitness exams and stuff. And he said, will you come and work for me? And I was like, well, so I did. I went for the interview and I always remembered he asked me how much money I wanted. So obviously I bunged on some from what I was earning. And he said, yeah. He said, I'd have paid you more.
Oh, no.
So that was me. I just broke away and I went and did that.
Oh, so cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you want to do the fitness then? Is it just because you were literally just so passionate about it and into it? Yeah, and you just fancied a change because you were just bored?
I did, and I wanted to do the fitness side, but actually the job they offered me was customer service, and I think it was customer service and sales at that point and that job. So I did do the fitness side. I taught spinning and stuff like that, and classes. And I did. I was always have done customer service.
I imagine that was far more like fulfillment than working at the bank then, was it?
It was different because the bank's national, like multinational company, and whereas I went to a local company, so it's very different for me to get my head around working for like a family-run company than what I was in before.
Yeah,
but
like a number compared to like an integral part, and like you can actually make a difference of what you do and that kind of thing.
But I really enjoyed it. They were good times as well, and because I was young and got to train, and we had good fun.
Yeah, good fun. And then what was after that then?
Then I went and lived in Tenerife.
Oh, I never knew this.
I was going to put that on my point, but I thought, I think my parents were pulling their hair out at that point at me. I love travel, and I just thought, I went there on holiday a lot, and I thought, I'm just going to go. So I just upped and went, rented my house out that I lived in, and I just went and did it.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I've got to say, I worked in timeshare. I started off, I did meet and greet for a timeshare company, and then I worked in timeshare selling them, and I hated it.
Oh, really?
It was the best sales training in the world I've ever had. Honestly, it was a brilliant sales training because you don't take no for an answer. So it was really good, but I couldn't be me because I just didn't want to sell to anybody because it was so cutthroat. I felt like I was ripping people off. So I just didn't sell any of them at all. I just wandered around in the sunshine quite a lot, talking to the kids and whatever that came to do a tour, but I didn't know. So I made no money doing that at all.
I suppose it sounds like you just, if you want to do something, you do it, but if you don't, you don't.
It just didn't sit right at all with me. And so I just couldn't do it. I mean, I've been brought up, obviously, telling the truth and all of that. So I just couldn't, I couldn't do it. So
what did you do after that then?
So I came back.
Oh, you came back? How long were you there?
I was only there for about 6 months.
That's still a decent chunk of time.
And some people were like, oh, it did not work out. I said, I didn't put a time on it. I just wanted to go and do it. So I came back and obviously needed a job. And because I'd rented my house out, I didn't really want to kick them out straight away.
I'm back.
So I went and rented a house. And I was very, very fortunate because I managed to get a job and we are still really good friends. The girl that gave me the job at Stobbart's.
Okay, yeah.
Again, not for me. I worked in an office and it was like being back at school. We weren't allowed to talk very much. There was no customer contact at all. So, and then I changed up there and stayed, but I stayed for a good while. And then after that, I went to work for a high street estate agent.
Yeah. What made you want to do that then?
I'd just seen the job, and I've got to be honest, I've always loved houses. So the very first house I bought when I was 19 and renovated that. It was like one of those with the old cookers and the wood chip on the walls and stuff. So I've always loved property. And when I saw that job, I thought, I'm going to give that a go. And I loved it. I've got to say, I absolutely loved that job. I really did.
What did you love about it?
Just dealing with the people, the houses, the people I worked with were really lovely. And it was the beginning, not the beginning, but probably early on in that company's career, business, really. Yeah. There was a few of us in the office. I mean, it's massive now compared to what it was. And I just loved it. I loved the sales side and anything to do with the houses, really.
Yeah. I suppose if you're working for a company, I'd imagine when it's like young and you can have such an impact in the growth and you can see the growth as well, can't you? And your decisions or your ideas then maybe take into consideration then. Yeah.
I do wonder, and I often think about this, what made me leave. And I do think about it because I did really enjoy it. But I sold a house to the GM of Living Well, which is now Ballantyne's. Yeah. And he offered me customer service and sales manager again, which I'd done before, obviously. And I remember saying, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. And he said, would you do customer service and events manager? I thought, oh, that's a bit of me. So I did. So I started working part-time there and I carried on working in the agents. And then, they offered me such a good deal. And it was a lot more money at the time. So, so I went and did that. And I absolutely loved that job. Yeah. All customer service based, but doing events. And I got paid to do shopping trips and all of that
That's
sort of
so
stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, so I did. And I was at Ballantyne's, Living Well then became Ballantyne's. And I taught spinning there as well. I was there for 10 years doing that.
Had you ever thought about doing events before or...?
No, I hadn't, but of course it was customer service based and it was just something I loved. It was hard work because, for instance, you would hire a bus and then, we'll come. And then it was like, oh, they're not coming. And so then you've got to pay for it. So it had its challenges, but I did enjoy it.
What was the most memorable event, do you reckon?
Well, I used to do a quiz night every month. And honestly, they were brilliant. And I set up a walking club and they still do it now.
Oh, really?
Which is really cool.
That is cool.
And we still do that walking club. That was probably quite memorable because we went on one walking trip and my GM was taking one group and I was taking the other. And I could see him in the distance and he was going up this hill and I thought, he's going the wrong way. He took them all up the side of this thing and I thought, I've done all the health and safety on this.
No.
And he was, So, that was quite memorable.
That's quite funny.
Yeah.
Sounds like, customer service and people to people is what you've kind of always enjoyed doing throughout your career.
Absolutely.
Where you get your energy from.
Working in Stobbart's made me realise, although I love the people I worked with, it wasn't for me because it just had no customer contact. And I am very much a people person. I like to chat. Admin's not my thing. It's definitely people.
And like your dad said, your personality is a thing, isn't it? And if you can't show your personality off, then you're not going to get anything back, really.
Yeah.
So then what was after Ballantyne's then?
So I had my children.
Yeah.
And my ex and myself had our own business. So I ended up doing that and looking after the children.
Becoming a mum. Oh, yeah.
Becoming a mum, then that was my biggest achievement.
Yeah, no. I spoke to a girl the other day, lady, and she said the same thing. It's like she always wanted to be a mum, and that's her biggest achievement. Even though she's got like a business and that kind of thing, she said she'd always look back if she never had a kid and be like, oh, I've got a successful business, but I don't have a kid. But it's like she has that kid, and that is the main thing, and the business is the byproduct kind of thing, which I think is quite a cool thing to say.
I just think I just feel really blessed that I've been able to do that. And I do look at how amazing they are and think, you know, I must have done something right. It was challenging, don't get me wrong, because I was a single mum as well, which, had its challenges, as you know, as it would. But I look and I think they wouldn't be who they are now if we have gone through with the things we've gone through.
No.
So,
and you'll have had such a massive impact on your kids. And, you know, I mean, it's crazy. I think now, me being older, I think like how my mum and dad parented me, imagine how you parented your kids, of like, how they turn out is down to you and down to them and that kind of thing. So
it is. And I think, because I've got one in Australia, I've got one that's down in the Navy, and somebody said, oh, they just couldn't wait to get away. And I've said, no, probably because I was brought up very much like, you know, you stay, you do that, you do that. I've said, go and do it. You've got a whole world out there.
Yeah, it's
so you've
massive,
got
isn't
to
it?
Go and do it. Yeah.
Go and explore, isn't it? And if you want to come back, you can come back.
Absolutely, of course you can.
And then how did setting up on your own then come about? Did you always want your own business, or?
No, I've got to be totally honest. I hadn't even ever thought about it. Honestly, hasn't really thought about it. I mean, obviously, like I say, I did have a business with my ex, but he very much ran it. I would do paperwork and whatever else. But I'd not really, I could see how hard work it was. Don't get me wrong, because I mean, he was on his phone all the time and, you know, grew a great business. But I hadn't ever thought about me, little old me, doing it myself. How it happened was I was working with people like Savills and Springbok, people like that were, some of them were agents or halfway agents and some of them were auction houses. So I was doing that and I loved what I was doing. And I was drawing a floor plan in the car one day outside school waiting for Ollie. And Andrew Pearson rang me about something. We were chatting and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm drawing a floor plan. And he went, do you do floor plans? And I went, I do everything. I do appraisals. And he was like, why do you sell by yourself? And then I had a house that I was selling and he came to value it for me. And again, he said, you should be doing this, you know. And he said, because I know you'll be able to do it. And I remember thinking, so it planted the seed. And I just started thinking, well, maybe I could. And then I got a lot of encouragement from my partner and friends and parents, everybody really. Why don't you give it a go? So I did. So it was a red hot summer, believe it or not. I remember we had actually had some hot days and I sat out in the garden learning how to use the laptops. I'd not really used it. No, I'd used the computer. I used systems that I needed, but I was like, so got a new phone, had to do everything. I thought I was overwhelmed. I was sat there with like folders and emails and it was overwhelming setting it up.
I can imagine.
In land revenue stuff and So I remember thinking, I can't do all of this. There was a lot of tears. I've got to be honest. A lot of tears. It's not for the faint-hearted, I don't think, at all. No. And luckily, financially, I had a bit to back it up because obviously one of my friends, he delivered pizzas when he set up. So I just, I've gone for it and just did it. And it is worrying at the beginning because you think, what if I don't have any clients? Because, of course, I didn't come from the high street other than years ago. I was just working for auction companies. So I didn't have my own clients. So.
What was it like then the first day when you like launched it? What was the feeling like?
Well, I was apprehensive because I thought, oh my goodness. Although I've got to say, before I actually launched, I did manage to have a couple of houses to list. Nice. So that was really good. I'd worked really hard to do that. And it was amazing as well. I thought, I'm actually doing this.
All by yourself.
And I always remember Liam Irvin saying to me, I'm just going to tick one on and then tick one off and just do it. I remember he said to me, good luck with that. He was very right.
Yeah.
Because it's just
crazy. Yeah. But was it what you expected or no? In what way? It wasn't what you expected. Yeah.
I think because I just thought I would be able to manage it and just like I said, just make a nice little living and have the odd house coming on. But all of a sudden it was like, hi, Hayley, could you come out and value my house? And I was like, oh, wow, people actually would like me to go and help them. So yeah, I was, I think, amazed. And yeah, really, really chuffed that people trusted me to help them with the houses. Because it's a massive thing, your house.
Yeah.
You know, and I always smile about when people come and view a house and they're in and out in 10 minutes, half an hour. And I think, oh my goodness, she's spending 100 grand here or however much money. You know, I spend much longer looking for a pair of shoes or a t-shirt or something.
That's what I think as well. Like, the amount of money is probably most people's biggest purchase of their life, isn't it? And they'll view it for like, 15, 20 minutes.
It's the smallest amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. And then people say, it's all right if I come and have another look. And I'm like, absolutely come and have another look, because you're spending, like you said, hundreds of thousands of pounds on something. So, I mean, when I'm looking for a holiday, it takes me absolutely ages.
Days.
Yeah.
And you're spending a few grand or whatever. Yeah, it is crazy when you actually think of it like that. Yeah. And how did things kind of like, well, what was the original plan? Was it just literally like tick over like a couple of houses a month, whatever?
Just make a nice little living and enjoy what I was doing, and fit it round school. I suppose I've always been really fortunate that I've worked jobs where I can fit them round the children. I've always been fortunate that I've done that, whether it's working 4 jobs at one point in my life or whether it was just this, I've been able to do that. And that's something I wanted to be able to do and have a good balance. So at the beginning, it was overwhelming because I got quite a few things on to do. So I'd be up in the middle of the night sitting, writing adverts and such like, and thinking, oh my goodness. But once it had sort of settled in, it's better. I'm learning a lot. Honestly, I've learned so much in the last couple of years of how to manage and I'm learning still how to put boundaries in place.
I can imagine, people like messaging late at night, weekends, whatever. And
that's my own doing, because sometimes I don't mind working late and I'm always at the end of my phone. I don't have a separate phone. It's literally one phone. But I do have to learn, like when I go on holidays and things, I've started putting the phone away for a little while. When I flew out for something to eat or a coffee, I will now put my phone away because I wasn't at all. It's your own business, isn't it? And you want people to use you and you want to have that business, but it is getting that happy medium.
Because I remember I used to have one phone and now I've got 2 phones. And that was one of the best things I ever did because, I don't know, I found it hard to like differentiate between the two. So it's like, if I got my work phone, I'll check it. But if I don't, I'll like keep it separate like that.
I think how I see this, and I've got to be honest, I trained as a counsellor as one of my jobs back in the day. And I find that comes in an awful lot with my job. That's probably my personality. So for me, I feel like I need to be there for these people. I do a lot of hand holding. It's probably more, I'm very salesy, but I think I'm more of the hand holding. I do a lot of splits and a lot of bereavement. And I think that's probably where I come into it, because I can help. A lot of first-time buyers never done this before.
It's like me a year ago. I didn't have a clue.
And people don't. And I think for me, that's customer service is really important to me, that I'm looking after that person or something like you, that, you think help you because you want to. And then when you're selling, you'll be like, oh, who helped me then? And it's not, I don't do it to get the business. It's just who I am as a person, I think.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely. How do you think it's evolved then from when you first started? Is it crazy now, or and how's the market changed? Because say for me personally, when I was if I'm looking to sell my house at the moment, I've noticed when I was looking at the previous sold prices that say quite a few years ago they were quite high, and then like then COVID they like went down, and then they're kind of like going back up now because of, I think more people are wanting to maybe live in flats now, whereas in COVID they weren't. They wanted more space and stuff. But how's like the kind of market changed, and how's it changed for you?
See, I think the market changes all the time. I really do. It's really bizarre, my job, because sometimes I'm absolutely crazy. Mondays, I'm usually run off my feet, and today I'm like this with my phone. Is there something wrong with it? But what's great is that when I speak to other agents, I actually think, no, that I am right. It isn't just me that's this today. It does this all the time. It's really bizarre. So sometimes it'll be crazy busy and it's easy because you're literally putting them on and they're selling. I've done quite a lot of that recently, and you're getting good ones on that. Then they'll just go fly straight off. But then there's other times where you put a property on the market and you think, that'll fly off, that beautiful. Not one person asks about it. And you're like, there's no rhyme or reason. at all. But you're right, the prices after COVID, they skyrocketed. When I started, people were literally chucking money at me, full asking. And I was like, wow, this is easy. I'm going to do this business.
Gonna make millions.
Yeah, this is really easy. But then obviously it slows. And there's times where you think, why is there no viewings coming in on, nobody's asking to view. But it just depends. But I think with property, it'll always rise. If you buy right and you buy in the right area. Yeah. For you, I suppose, as well. Because I suppose there's maybe not a right area, but there is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And then how, you say hand-holding, because I definitely had my hand held when I bought for the first time. How do you help people? If, say, somebody's wanting to either buy or sell with you, what do you do differently, or where do you think you add the value to them?
See, I get asked all the time. Or people say, I'm really sorry, Hayley, this is a stupid question. And I was like, it isn't a stupid question. If you feel the need to ask that question, then obviously you need to ask it because you don't know.
Yeah,
and the only way you're going to learn, isn't it, to ask the question. So I suppose for me, I'm very much like, I will go that extra mile. If somebody needs help with the papers for the solicitors, I would do that. If they just want to sit and chat about, can you help me with this? Or I do find a lot when I'm doing valuations, if I've got somebody that's perhaps going through a breakup or whatever, I will listen. Because it's emotion. Every single house sale comes with some sort of emotion, whether it's just memories you've made in that house or just whatever emotion it is. So I think that's probably my niche thing, that I am there for that person that just needs that.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it, I suppose? Because, yeah, I'd imagine if you're going through a breakup, that's such a difficult time to go through, especially if that's your family home or whatever. And, yeah, you got so much money and kids and whatever else. That'd be such a difficult thing.
It's the same with bereavement. It's the same sort of thing. Again, family home, parents, and you're going through all of that. And for me, I think you just have to have some sort of empathy and try and understand and compassion, and understand what that person might be going through. It's not just a house, and it's a massive upheaval, something that's, So I would hope that I would go that extra mile just to help.
Yeah. What are some of the best houses you sold, do you reckon? What are some of your favourite ones?
Well, when I started this off, I've got to be really honest with you. I did think, do high-end, absolutely beautiful houses because I'll make money quicker and easier.
Yeah, the commission.
It's because you only have to do one property. Yeah. It's hard. Obviously, they're beautiful, but there's less people
who are interested. Yeah,
because obviously there's more money, so there's less people with that amount of money. Favorite properties. I mean, the difference now than what I was doing when I was working for some of the auction companies is that actually I get carpets under my feet now, and it's warm. And some of them, although I love a good project. I've always loved a good project. I don't know, because I've got quite a lot of favourite properties, to be fair.
Well, list a few off then, go on.
Do you know, I did a property in Irvington and I loved going there because it reminded me of a little bit, had the same sort of feeling of one of my old properties that I lived in. And I also then took another one in Irvington and I didn't get much interest at all. It was stunningly beautiful. So that was no rhyme or reason sort of thing. I sold an amazing project at Lanercost. And oh my goodness, it was amazing. It was filled with like grandfather clocks and it was a stunning feel of a house. It's now rubble.
Really?
Because it needed to come down to then do, and I cannot wait to see what they do.
Right, so they're just completely from scratch then, yeah.
That's something that's really lovely. I sold one in Stanwix area, and the young couple quite often were sending me videos of what they did to it. So it's really lovely, because before, when I wasn't working in the agents, I was working for the auction companies and such like. I didn't follow it through. I didn't get to see what happened. So this is really lovely for me.
Yeah, more personal touch. Yeah, you can actually see.
Yeah,
that is cool. Yeah.
I was going to say, you said before about the phone, business and personal. What I was going to say is, I probably find it easy with one phone, and this is going to sound corny as corny, but a lot of my clients do become friends.
Oh, that's very cool.
We often laugh about it because you start off, and I do start off one little kiss or none, so on, being girls, and then it's like, and I'm like, oh, they must really like me. And so I do find, and this is probably why I find it easy, because I'll be chatting with a friend, and it's just like chatting with my seller or buyer.
Yeah. That's nice, yeah. I feel like, what do they say? This is probably stereotyping. It's easy to turn a client into a friend than a friend into a client.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say that is very, very true.
Because, I don't know. Yeah. I've noticed it over the years. Like one of my friends specifically, he's helped me out with everything and never like asked for a penny. And then we've been on holidays together to like treat him and stuff. But yeah, even when I was doing like events and stuff, they'd always want stuff for free. Whereas say like, yeah, clients that built a relationship with, I would class some of them as friends now as well, because I don't know, it's interesting, the dynamic, I suppose, in that way. But
and I think it's lovely to be able to do that. I think the hard thing, and I think any probably self-employed business person would say, where do you draw the line with the friends thing? And I have got an awful lot of friends, and it's like, would you mates rates? And it's like, right, where do we draw the line with this? Because if I did that, I think I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah.
You know?
Because then, and then it's like, who's classed as a friend as well? And then what rate do you give out?
And how come they got that and they got that? And I just think sometimes it's just easier to have, that's what you do. Repeat business, don't get me wrong. You know, I would look at it and stuff, but it is difficult.
Yeah, 100%. I think your business is your life, isn't your livelihood as well. So it's would they do the opposite as well?
And
that's the thing.
It is. It is. And you don't know, do you really? No. But everybody, I mean, I've got lots of friends that have got their own businesses, and, you know, they've got to make money as well. So,
yeah. I think it's different if you offer than if somebody asks as well, isn't it? If you said, all right, well, do this and you can have this, whatever, rather than go straight in with the matrix. It's like, you only come with me because you think it's going to be cheap or what? But yeah. And then you say some houses you think are like amazing and don't sell. What would you look at for in like an amazing house, or what would be the key characteristics would you say it's important for people to go and buy? Because I don't know, my mum and dad have always said growing up, like location is one of the main things that you should look for. But what would you say?
Location is, and I totally agree with that. But like I said before, what your location, what you find is amazing, somebody else won't, or they won't like that. Some people want to be in the middle of nowhere and don't want to even hear the birds singing, where other people want to be on a busy main road because they love it and there's always something going on. You know, it's so. I think it just depends. It's so personal to what somebody wants. Schools seem to be a big thing. Yeah, of what. When people are buying, if they've got children, schools are important to them. Like I say, near amenities, but then some people don't want that. They just want to be out in the middle of nowhere.
So that's what I like about where I live at the moment in the mill, is that it feels like you're out of home. Yeah. But then you're still close enough to like the co-op or the supermarkets or town and that kind of thing. Because, I don't know, it works for me at the moment. But like say other people would be like, I don't want to be in Dunham, you know what I mean? It depends on budget as well, obviously.
I know, budget is a lot of it, isn't it, as well? Because if budget was just not a thing, obviously you could have everything. Well,
I don't think I'd be living there, if I was limited budget. But it was even when I was looking at the other one today that I was telling you about, we were saying that, it's a lot more light, bedrooms are bigger, kitchen's slightly smaller, but it doesn't make a difference. But then the bathroom needs done, and it's like, do you go for another one? Then spend more money, and it's just like, lots of things to consider, isn't it? But
I think I've learned such an awful lot about people, although I've always dealt with people, that seeing what some people buy and what they're happy to live in. And it's so difficult for me because if I'm selling something and it's got a bit of damp or it's got a bit of this, that I'd be like, that needs done really. And the surveyor will tell you the same. But then I have had people that'll just buy it and live in it as it is, as the other person was, you know, not doing what the surveyors suggested or not even having a survey. Really? So we're all so different. All really different how we all live. And I have to remind myself of that when I'm going out valuing. That we all live differently.
Different standards, that is interesting, Hopefully I live in a decent standard.
Yours is lovely, and obviously I showed you that other one, and that was different. And the one I've just sold in Higginson, high spec kitchen, absolutely she's literally just decorated and everything to sell it. And it's,
Because the one thing that I found different, that even when I've like rented in the past, that I found weird, is that my bathroom doesn't have a window. But apparently that's quite common in flats.
I think it is quite common because obviously they're back on to each other sometimes and that, don't they? So, I think it's quite common. It's quite a lot of bathrooms. I see some in new builds where they put the bathroom in between.
Yeah, and it's making sure you got the extractor fan on and you got dehumidifier and all that kind of stuff because, it can get very hot in there.
But I see a lot of that even with a window. I see a lot of black on the ceilings and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people don't think about ventilating.
No, they don't. So, I keep the door open as much as possible because, it could be an absolute nightmare. It's one of my clients, he said he rented an apartment, I think, in there. and somebody rented it off him and there's black mold everywhere. And you just think, how could you live in something like that though?
All it needs is, I say this to people all the time, because when you go out valuing, they'll say, what can I do? That is like either Astonish or Detox mildew spray. You just spray it on, walk out the room and vent as much of the house as you can, put the air around it. And honestly, it disappears. It literally disappears. Yeah, on tiles and stuff like that, on there, but the silicon's not as easy. But
no, it's crazy. So what kind of houses have you got on the market at the moment? Then if people are listening, watching.
I've got to be honest, because I've hardly got anything at the moment. Do you know why? I've just sold to loads.
That's a good problem to have.
I think I've got 27 going through. I like to keep about 40-ish with either way, but I've got a really lovely balance at the moment. I've 27 going through, so sold, and I think I've only got about 10 live at the moment.
Yeah, so you're a bit short.
Because of the amount I've sold. But I quite enjoy it, because I know a partner, Tony, said to me once, oh, that's great, you've got them on and that's it sold, that's the hard work over. And I went, no.
That's when the hard work begins, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. The hard work really starts when you've sold it, because you can't magic a buyer. You can do everything to market the property and try and get the buyer. And I'll say that when I take houses on, I can't promise you I'm going to sell it. I will do everything I can to try and find you that person. But once it's sold, it's getting it over the line. I had a fall through last week, which I'd worked nearly 6 months on. Really hard work. And yeah, so then absolutely nothing, get nothing for doing that. So
long time. Yeah,
so that's
people
the
don't
hard
see that,
part.
do they? Yeah.
And if you've got a lot of people in the chain, it's keeping everybody happy. And yeah,
a chain would be a nightmare.
It can be a nightmare. And at the moment, obviously, stamp duty is changing
in April, is it? Yeah.
So everybody is wanting to be complete. So I feel sorry for the solicitors, because they're always wanting to they all want to be complete by then. As a lot of them now won't complete by then.
No, because we've only got 7 weeks. Because I just did podcast before, and he was saying, he's exactly the same thing that you just said, and he's like,
it's hard getting it through. How long did it take you to get through on yours?
So I think I got accepted in November-ish, and then got in end of March, so December, 4 months.
Yeah. So, and really, when you think about it, if there's not much onward chain or none, and the first time buyer or so, it should be quick and easy.
I was first time buyer, and they said, they're just waiting for their next one. But yeah, it just kind of drags on, doesn't it?
It's just, I look at like the States and places like that, and they literally just buy the house. Yeah. So, but we have obviously the legals and all of that to do in this country.
There's one of the girls I went to school with, I haven't spoken to her in a while now, but last time I saw her, she was in a chain, and it was like about 14 months or something crazy.
Oh my word.
They were first time buyers, but it was just waiting. I just think that's absolutely crazy how you can do that. But it makes sense, doesn't it? If there's like about 7 people in the chain or whatever.
And it's just everything that everybody has to do everything, don't they? So and it's just keeping everybody happy. That's part of my job, is to keep everybody happy, as long as...
I think that's one of the hardest things, I'd imagine, yeah.
It is.
Managing expectations as well.
Absolutely. And you get lots of different people. Lots of people are very anxious, and they're asking you all the time. Then you get some others that you don't hear from. So I'm like, you're right. It is. So yeah, different to people.
Is it common for things to fall through then at the moment?
I would say I've had less fall throughs than go throughs. Yeah, I think if I could change the system, I would, I'd do the Scottish system in the way that I would get the survey done first. Because like you come look at my house, you know exactly what you're buying and you know what's there. So there's no messing around. Like later down the line, we've taken it off the market, you get your survey, and then you're like, wait, I don't want to buy it now.
Yeah, and pull it out.
Yeah, so that is one thing I would like to change. If we could change it, that's something that I think would be good.
Yeah. The survey's one of the last things, is it?
I would say try and encourage my buyers, if they're going to get a survey, to a separate one to the mortgage survey, ask them to do it as early as they can.
Yeah.
And then get them in, and then at least we've got that out the way. And then, because that's a biggie, really, the survey.
Okay. Well, the other reasons then, just can't get the mortgage, or...
I would say money, people splitting when they were meant to be buying together, or just change your circumstance. I had one recently, just change your circumstance, and they couldn't go ahead. So it's life, I suppose.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's gutting when it happens, but
I can imagine.
and a lot of the time it's not the fault of the house, and people always go, how come that's been on as long? Why is it fallen through? I've actually got a property of my own which is exactly that.
Really?
3 times it's fallen through with 3 different people for 3 different reasons.
It's just devastating, isn't it?
The last time it's fallen through, it's only because they still would like to buy it, but they cannot sell theirs down country. So it's one of those.
It's a waiting game, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy.
Just got to go with it.
Yeah.
What'll be, will be.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what do you think the biggest mistake or biggest regret's been?
Yeah, well,
you want to share on camera?
No, well, and you know, I don't have any regrets.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that sounds like, oh, yeah, right. I don't have any regrets in my life because I think that's made me who I am. There's things now, if I look back, younger Hayley would perhaps do differently, but I don't regret any of the decisions I've made. What would have changed? What would have changed? What did I think? The one thing I thought about was, I wish I'd have done this earlier.
Yeah.
I really wish I was in my 30s and I was doing this, because I think I could have worked around the kids, but I didn't realise this was a thing, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew you could set up and go completely independent, but for me, using EXP systems and stuff works for me. So it just takes some of the responsibility off my shoulders. So yeah, I wish I'd realised, and I could have done this a long time ago, because I think by now I'd have had a really flying business. I've already got somebody working. I've got 2 girls. One girl does my social media, and then I've got another girl that works with me, and she does all my admin.
Oh, nice. I was going to say, do the jobs that you don't like doing. 100%.
She does viewings, and she's brilliant at the admin, but she's like me. She's very personable. Oh, nice. I actually think, and I've said to her joking, when Tony retires, he can take over from her and she can go and do what I do. Well, we could grow it together. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's probably the thing I would have.
If she'd done it early, in your 30s, that would be cool, yeah.
I wish I'd had the self-confidence.
Yeah. Do you think you didn't at 30 then?
I've got to be honest with you, I probably still don't believe in myself as much as I should. And I am learning, because I'm thinking, hold on, you're doing this and people ask your advice. So, you are good at what you do. But I think it maybe comes with age where you do start thinking more about yourself and thinking, actually, probably didn't have the confidence back in the day.
Yeah. No, but I think from obviously the brief time conversations with you and what you put on social media, it's good energy. You know what I mean? It's approachable, which is quite nice. But if, like, say, you look at, or if I look at other companies and it's like, you don't know the face, or like it's like a corporate company, think you just number or that kind of thing. It's interesting just because sorry, I was giving you a quick compliment there. And saying that we do a lot of talking videos of people, like when you can see the white suit rise. So I think it's important. Well, for me personally and other people I know, it's like it's less results. Is that comes across when you see the white suit rise. So I think, I see personally it's coming across now, and obviously it's the awards.
I think you just have that positivity and that self-belief and be honest. I just think be honest. People want to see honesty. I do that vlog on a Sunday, and I just go out and go, here's a message that, like now, if I look at, this is me, this is just who I am. So, yeah.
That's good. So where can we find you, follow you, get in contact?
Insta, Hayley Gardiner Property Limited. Insta, Facebook. I'm actually on, oh my goodness, what's it called? The one with the dance.
TikTok,
that's it.
TikTok,
And it's because I don't go on there very often, but my social media girl does. I look onto my websites as well. But if they follow me on my social media, at least they get to see things that come in before they hit the market.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much for coming on. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. It's on Spotify, Apple. Make sure to follow the podcast. 5 star. See you next time. Bye.